Remember, we've been celebrating the 20,000 mark on the Nifty right from yesterday's closing action that we had been celebrating. And you can see these wonderful shots that we've been playing for you time and again, celebrating this milestone on the Nifty. And who better than Devina Mehra, Chairperson and MD of First Global, who can help us understand what is really next for the Nifty after 20,000. Welcome, Ms. Mehra, and thank you so much for taking the time out for this discussion. It's an absolute pleasure to have you with us. You know, you're someone who I can safely say has seen the Nifty right from 2000 to 20,000, and you have perhaps seen all the cycles that an investor can actually dream of only thinking. And you're the best person to have on the show to help us understand really what lies ahead for the markets. But first, I'm going to ask you, how did you really celebrate that moment around 3:10 p.m. yesterday when we did see that 20,000 mark being hit? I'm sure that you had already known that this one was coming. But then, did you do a hook step? Did you dance a little? Did you sing a song? What did you do? And can you repeat that for us?
Thanks actually for having me. So after it hit the 20,000 mark, I was only fielding calls from all the channels. But and I'm the boring sort who doesn't quite sing and dance. But as it happens, this is also the end of summer in Dubai. So this is the first week when a lot of visitors landing up from
Yeah.
India. So I actually ended up going out for dinner yesterday and today.
What did
So
you eat? What did you eat for dinner? I want to know what is your favorite dish whenever you want to celebrate such milestones. What do you eat and celebrate with?
yeah, there's nothing like that, but I did end up with a dark chocolate pudding. So,
That's wonderful. Dark chocolate pudding. I know now next time we are meeting, what are we ordering in person as well. But a wonderful achievement at that on the Nifty, something that we had been waiting for with bated breath. But what's next now? That is the question that comes to the mind for all the investors. I mean, would you turn more cautious or would you continue to ride the happy wave right now?
okay, so I had, if you see my social media, I had said end of March that this is time to be invested and you will miss out, you're more likely to miss out on an up move rather than a crash if you don't invest right now. And of course, it's gone up since then, but I still remain positive on the Nifty and particularly on the large cap space. So, I mean, I always like to take a very long view of things. So, if you look at the Indian market, people expect 15, 16% equity compounding because that's been the compounded since the Sensex started. NSE had not even come in by then. I mean, I still remember my interview at the NSE when the NSE was getting formed. So I was one of the
Okay.
founding members.
Wow. Wow.
Uh, there was actually a written test and then an interview.
Okay. Okay.
So as far as as I said, equities are concerned, that's the long-term compounding, but it varies very widely, not just from year to year, but decade to decade. So in the 80s, if you had invested 100 rupees at the beginning, you would have it would have gone up 7 times in a decade. That 2010 to 20 decade, it went up only 2.3 times, barely beating fixed deposit returns. So that decade, the returns were far below trend. And even this, the 3 years that have passed, we haven't seen any great compounding, primarily because 2022 was such a disastrous year for the global market. So we had only a 12% compounding, so 12.5. So we are still not above the trend line. So there's the risk of a crash is still minimum. Again, the risk of missing out on an up move is more significant. But I mean, the picture on small and mid caps can be quite different. I mean, that segment of the market inherently is a riskier segment. And also since March, you had a 35 to 45% run up in those indices, depending on which index you look at. And therefore, it's a risky proposition without a correction. So, a 5% correction in those in a small cap index can mean 15-20% in your stocks. And I see a lot of mutual fund flows also all coming towards the small cap, and that people do not understand how risky is it. I mean, just to give you a picture, that in 2008,
Yes.
that index crashed, I think almost 80%, 78% or something. It finally reached that level again in 2016.
Yeah.
And actually, if you look at the constituents that the index in 2016 would hardly have any overlap with the index in 2008. So in terms of
Yeah.
those stocks never reached those levels again. And then you had a brief bull run, and 2018 to 20 was another 65% down. So that's the issue, that people forget all those pain points, and people start, and the on the financial services side, there is promotion or whatever is running. So be cautious on the small and mid caps. I'm still largely positive on the large caps. Broadly speaking, that would be my recommendation.
Sure. So, as in when we see such rides, of course, it's great to celebrate, but caution is warranted where the pockets are getting euphoric, and small caps could be one, but large caps still positive is where Devina is on right now. But, ma'am, I also wanted to understand, what would you suggest? Is this the time that everyone should use to perhaps trim their portfolios a bit, or should one deploy fresh money at this point in time? What would you really advise investors to do?
So as I said, on the large caps, I remain positive. So there,
Yeah.
if you want to deploy money, there is not an issue. See, the thing in markets is that uh, when you see a very high risk, that those pockets are isolated. But at other times, you should not be out of the market because you miss out on the up move. So if I look at again a 40 plus year period, if you had invested 100 rupees at the Sensex when the Sensex started, it would be something like 56,000 now. I mean, the numbers might be still a little here and there, but it's about around that number. But if you missed out in 40 years, just the 10 best days of the market, which is not a whole lot,
Yes.
you would miss out on 2/3 of the returns. That is the thing. And if you miss out on the 30 best days, which is less than the average of one day a year, you miss out on 90% of the return. So that 56,000 goes down to almost 5,000. So that's
Yes.
the risk that you take. So, see, everybody understands that if you're invested, there is a risk of losing capital, but there is an inherent risk in not being invested to whatever extent you want to be invested in equities. I never say, even for a young person, that 100% of your assets should be in equity. But
Yes.
whatever you think should be your asset allocation in equity, this is not a bad time at all to be invested. Of course, choosing the sectors and companies carefully.
Absolutely. But, another question then comes in for all those investors who perhaps have already enjoyed a large part of this rally, even if they would want to, like, say, take away some profits. How does one really decide when is the right time to exit or to sell some companies, even if they're invested in good, sound, fundamental companies that have been giving them good returns? Because ultimately, like you also pointed out, some of the companies never reached back to those levels of 2008 or before that, right? So businesses can also run out of course. Great stocks, great companies may also not give you that kind of returns if the price valuations become obese. So how does one really decide how to when to sell or when to exit?
See, I mean, a couple of thumb rules. Of course, in small caps, you need to be more careful. That is fine. So if there are things which are changing in the fundamentals, you need to keep track of that. But I mean, just as a thumb rule, what I advise to people is that if you want a very simple rule, if you invest, let's say, in a stock at 50 rupees, don't say that I will exit when it reaches 100 or it reaches 200, because then you're going to miss out on the multi-baggers. So, that's the thing. So if it's a company that has a 20-year run like HDFC Bank or Amazon, you will miss out on that. But always have a stop loss and be very rigid about that. So let's say you have, I mean, just to give you an example, suppose you have we have a much more elaborate system of deciding on stop losses, but let's say you have a 25% stop loss. Now that stop loss is not from your purchase price. It is what is called a trailing stop loss. So if it goes from 50 to 100, goes down to 90, you remain invested. It goes to 150, it goes to 200. But from 200, if it comes back to 150, which is a 25% decline from the high, then you should exit and keep to that kind of discipline. So if you just want an easy rule, that's the best rule to have, that let your profits run till you hit the stop loss. from the high.
Very well explained and very simply explained. A lot of viewers will definitely, take this down in a notepad and, keep revisiting it every time as a thumb rule that they want to invest in. I wanted to also ask you about what was your thought about the kind of run-up that we've seen in several pockets of late. Defense, shipbuilders, PSU stocks, railways. These are the pockets that for decades have never made wealth for investors, but suddenly they have come into flavor and everybody's now starting to feel FOMO that had I invested in an NTPC or a Coal India, which never was on the radar, or maybe even these shipbuilder stocks that every time there is a 20% surge, you feel that ab to paisa nikalo, lekin agle din to fin again there is a 20% surge. How does one really approach these pockets now?
Okay, so first principle, never get carried away by FOMO, because that's the where you make the most mistakes. So don't do that. And as far as I can tell you, the way we do things for us, the first principle in investing is risk management. So this is some of your viewers, if they want to Google, there is an old article called The Loser's Game by Charles Ellis. This is more than 40 years old, which explains why everything in life is a winner's game or a loser's game, and investing has become a loser's game. So that means that the first way to ensure that you win is to ensure that you don't lose. So first of all, you have to guard against any big drawdown. So, I mean, we use, of course, many elaborate things. For example, even when we know small caps are doing well, we might go to from 15% small cap to 100 to 20%, but we'll never go to 45% small cap. So those are the many parameters we use. So even in these kind of sectors where it is very news driven, we are careful, because that very euphoric first reaction may or may not hold, because finally orders, numbers. So those things you have to manage little carefully. At various points, we have held defense stocks, but not like, in any case, we never take a very big bet on a sector. So we are always very diversified, not just in terms of number of companies, but also sectors. The shipyard, etc., I have not frankly looked at very carefully to be able to make a call on that. Defense also was partly a global call at certain points, because defense across the world was looking good at a point in time, and we did buy some stocks. But those are these which is all out in the future. We are careful to take a bet on that. There are enough opportunities in the market to outperform, and we've managed to do that. So we've been right on top in terms of returns since we started. So I mean that we like to do it in a very, very tightly risk managed basis.
Absolutely, and your portfolios have outperformed, and how more than anyone else in this recent rally as well. But if I have to ask you now, where are you positive now? Which would be those sectors and themes that you believe that after 20,000, still there is enough value to be made and profits to be made for investors?
Actually, in terms of sectors, our number one overweight sector has not changed in 2 years. So October 2021 is when we made a bet on capital goods and industrial machinery, which people have discovered only off late. But we saw the turnaround in that sector after being a dog sector for like a good 12 years from 2009. So that's the other thing, when fundamentals change, and also something, whether it's a country or a sector has been an underperformer for a long time, and the trend is changing, that trend will sustain for a while. So, I mean, we still evaluate every quarter when we rebalance, that is the story over. Right now, our systems have not signaled that the story is over. So some of those stocks went up 2 times, 4 times. So we booked profits. We have changed some stocks. We've cut a little bit of weightage, but we still remain quite overweight there. Where we have added in this calendar year has been auto components, pharmaceuticals, selectively some construction companies. IT, we would be slightly overweight, not a lot. So that would be broadly the sectors we like. I mean, now what our systems are showing is a few more FMCG stocks coming up the list, which is not a sector we've liked in the past. So, I mean, again, we are not very rigid. So if our systems show something, so ITC was the first FMCG that we bought, which has been a big winner for us in the last 1.5 years. But that's broadly the pattern that we are seeing.
ओके देवीना जी, मैं आपसे कुछ सवाल हिंदी में भी पूछूंगी। जैसे कि अभी आपने बहुत ही अच्छी अपनी एनेक्डोट हमारे साथ शेयर किया कि आप का इंटरव्यू हो रहा था जब एनएसई फॉर्म ही हो रहा था, तो आपने निफ्टी को तब से देखा है। और मैं आपसे अब जानना चाहती हूँ, देखिए अब आपने 0 से लेकर 20,000 तक की जर्नी तो देख ली, अब यहाँ से निफ्टी डबल कब तक होगा, इसके बारे में अगर मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँ, क्योंकि कितना समय लग गया, बहुत सी चीज़ें चेंज हो गई हैं, इकोनॉमी एक फास्ट पेस पर है, पूरी दुनिया की नज़र हमने देखा G20 पे इंडिया के ऊपर टिकी हुई है। तो अब क्या ये जो जर्नी टू 40,000 है, ये क्या काफ़ी जल्दी आ सकती है? और अगर किसी फ्रेश निवेशक को जो 23-24 ईयर ओल्ड है, आज की डेट में भी निवेश करना है, उनके लिए आपकी सलाह क्या होगी?
देखिए, मैंने इंडेक्स के लिए टारगेट 30 सालों में कभी भी नहीं दिया।
जी।
चाहे आप दिवाली का कोई इंटरव्यू देख लीजिए या जनवरी का, वो मैं कभी भी इंडेक्स का टारगेट नहीं देती हूँ, क्योंकि ये चीज मतलब ये चीज आप जान नहीं सकते हैं। तो आप कॉन्फिडेंस के साथ जो भी बोल रहा है, आप सबका देखिए कि लोगों ने जो इंडेक्स टारगेट दिए हैं, आप बाद में 1 साल बाद कोई भी वो बात नहीं करता कि पिछले साल क्या कहा था। सो इंडेक्स टारगेट तो वैसे कोई बहुत यूजफुल चीज नहीं है।
जी।
लेकिन जहां तक इंडेक्स के दिशा का सवाल है, अभी भी लार्ज कैप इंडेक्स जैसे जो निफ्टी है, उसके लिए मेरा जो दृष्टिकोण है वो पॉजिटिव है कि अभी उसमें अभी हम लोग इतना हाई लेवल पे नहीं है कि क्रैश का कोई कोई संभावना हो, मतलब बड़े क्रैश की, क्योंकि ट्रेंड लाइन के ऊपर ही नहीं है हम लोग। वो जो 10-12 साल हम लोग ने बहुत अंडर परफॉर्म किया, अपने इतिहास के लिहाज से भी और दुनिया के लिहाज से भी। तो अभी वो निवेशित रहने का समय है। लेकिन जहां पर मैं आपको कहूंगी सावधानी या सतर्कता बरतने के लिए, वो है स्मॉल कैप और मिड कैप्स,
जी बिल्कुल।
जहां पर आज निवेशक बहुत उस तरफ जा रहे हैं। तो वहां पर आपको सावधानी रखने की बहुत आवश्यकता है, क्योंकि वहां पर आपको संभावना इसकी हो सकती है कि आपके स्टॉक्स 20% 25% भी गिर जाए किसी समय।
जी, देवीना जी, एक आखिरी सवाल आपसे ये होगा कि अगर जैसे मैंने बताया कि कोई एक फर्स्ट टाइम इन्वेस्टर है, उसके पास 10 लाख रुपए हैं, वो अब निवेश की तरफ अपने कदम बढ़ाना चाहता है, उनके लिए आप क्या कहेंगी? किस तरीके से वो इस 10 लाख रुपए को निवेश करे इक्विटी मार्केट्स में?
ओके, एक तो ये मैं कहूंगी कि आपको पूरा का पूरा पैसा इक्विटी मार्केट में कभी नहीं डालना चाहिए, चाहे आप अभी आपकी आयु जितनी भी कम हो। क्योंकि कुछ पैसा आपको हो सकता है किसी कारण से चाहिए हो, पढ़ाई आगे करनी है, कोई मेडिकल इमरजेंसी हो गई, कोई घर खरीदना है। तो आप कुछ एसेट एलोकेशन के बारे में सोचिए कि कितना आपको फिक्स डिपॉजिट, कितना सोना, कितना इक्विटी। पर अगर आप इक्विटी में लगाना जो भी चाहते हैं, ये बुरा समय नहीं है निवेश करने का। और जहां तक क्या, बस थोड़ा स्मॉल कैप वगैरह से सतर्क रहिए, पर जो मेन स्ट्रीम स्टॉक्स हैं उसमें आप देख सकते हैं, सोच समझ कर निवेश कर सकते हैं।
ओके, बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया देवीना जी, हमारे साथ बने रहने के लिए इस खास शो पर, और तमाम इंसाइट्स हमारे दर्शकों के साथ शेयर करने के लिए। इट इज़ ऑलवेज अ प्लेजर लिसनिंग टू यू एंड द वाइज एडवाइस दैट यू एक्सटेंड टू ऑल आवर व्यूअर्स. होपिंग फॉर मेनी मोर insightful interactions going forward as well, and hope you have a fantastic day.
शुक्रिया साक्षी, और आपके
थैंक यू सर.
दर्शकों को भी 20,000 मुबारक।
बिल्कुल, आपको भी। और हम आज हॉट चॉकलेट पुडिंग भी खाएंगे, क्योंकि आपने उसके साथ सेलिब्रेट किया है। हम डेफिनेटली बिजनेस टुडे में भी उसी तरीके से सेलिब्रेट करेंगे। बहुत बहुत शुक्रिया जुड़े रहने के लिए मैम।